All right, so here's a little girl right here who has a genetic condition. What does she have? Looks like Down syndrome, doesn't it? It is, okay? Now, the thing about trisomy 21, Down syndrome, the characteristics, and I know you guys know all about the characteristics now, right? They become more apparent or more pronounced as the child gets older and older and becomes an adult. A lot of times when the child is really, really young, it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah, what's one clue that you see here that tells you that this little girl has trisomy 21? What do you see? Yes?
Flat face.
Okay, flattened profile. Flattened facial profile right there. See anything else? Isaac, I think your hand was up.
The way her mouth is, like, I don't want to say like overbite, but like they kind of, it's like
open mouth?
Sure, but like it's a baby, so I can't really see.
Yeah, but a lot of times their mouth is open a lot, protruding tongue. The oral cavity is a little smaller than normal, so that you get this protruding tongue a lot of times. You see anything else?
Got chubbier cheeks, like a fuller face.
Okay, okay. There's another very subtle thing. The top of the ear, if you draw a horizontal line from the corner of the eye back, this is something a genetic counselor would recognize. If you draw a horizontal line from the corner of the eye back, see how, well, I'm not going to make it straight. The top of the ear is significantly below that line. Low set ears, that's what that's called. Your ear, the top of your ear would be more even with this line coming straight back. And the ears are somewhat, a little bit, it's called hypoplastic. That means slightly underdeveloped. See, when you were an embryo, your ears kind of started down like about here. And as you develop, they kind of migrated up and rotated into place, and they don't complete that totally. That's just a little thing. Do you remember any other characteristics?
Drooping eyes.
Okay. There's a little extra eye fold in the corner. Also gives their eyes kind of that almond-shaped appearance. Yeah.
Be shorter than.
Short stature, shorter than normal. Oh, you saw the kid in the video playing football? Half of the kids with Down syndrome have heart defects. I think we talked about that. So there's a whole constellation of, I'm going to use the word symptoms. And that's what a syndrome is. A syndrome is a whole constellation of symptoms. And that's what you see with chromosome disorders. Because if you get an extra chromosome, remember it's not just an extra chromosome, it's an extra dose of all those genes that are on that chromosome, right? And they all control different things. All right, let me show you this little girl's karyotype. I'm sure you know what it looks like, right? There it is. There's her karyotype. Recognize it? Did I put the wrong slide in?
It looks like a normal karyotype to me.
It looks like a normal.
Okay, I'm messing with you. I didn't put the wrong slide in. That's the right slide. That's that little girl's karyotype. There is a third chromosome 21 in this picture. Can you find it? What? Right, yeah, there it is. Ah, there it is. It's like, where in the world is, what is it, Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo? That's what this reminds me of. No, not Carmen Sandiego, Waldo. Where's Waldo?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Well, yeah, that's true. So I mixed them up. But anyway, you got to look for it carefully. Cole? There's the extra, there's the third 21 right there. Like Hayden said, it's stuck to the top of number 14. They're stuck together. 14 and 21, those two just happen to be stuck together permanently. And then from that point on, they behave as one big long chromosome. That's it right there. So this child does have 3 21s. 1, 2, 3, right there. You know what that's called?
Translocation.
Excellent. That's called a translocation.
Oh, how'd you know?
It's called a 1421 translocation. 1421 translocation. All right, now let's back up. 95% of all the kids who have Down syndrome, 95%, it's because of non-disjunction, which we already know about, where either the egg has an extra 21 in it or the sperm has an extra 21 in it. 3% of all the kids with Down syndrome, it's because of this. 1421 translocation. Now raise your hand if you've ever heard of translocations before. Have you ever heard of that? Impressive. Obi-Wan has taught you well. Who'd you have? Where'd you learn that, Hayden? Honors bio? Huh? Hayden, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a Hayden Black 3. Will you forgive me?
I will forgive you.
Where'd you learn that?
Honors bio.
Honors bio, translocation. Very good. Yeah, now so here's probably what happened. Here's what likely happened in this little girl. Okay. This was her mom. This is her mom right here. It's so important, I think we should look at it again. Same picture, seeing double. Seeing double. This is, okay, this is one of the cells that that made up her mom's body. So every cell in her mother looks like this. In her mother's got 2 21s, but one of them happens to be stuck to one of her 14s, and then here's her other 14. So she's got 2 14s, she's got 2 21s, the little girl's mother. Now look at her. Do you think this person's normal?
Yes.
Why?
Because she still has 2 21s.
Right. She still has 2 21s and 2 14s. But we call her a 1421 translocation balanced translocation, or you could say she's a balanced translocation carrier. Does that make sense? This is one of those rare cases where Down syndrome can be hereditary. In other words, where it can run in families. Normally, 95% of the cases, if it's due to non-disjunction during meiosis, it's just a mistake in meiosis, probably won't happen again. But can you see how this one would run generation to generation? Now watch what happens when the little girl's mama right here does meiosis. Now, you guys, we're looking at the abbreviated version of meiosis here. That's the abbreviated version. You guys all know about, I think, meiosis. Quick review, watch. Here's chromosome pair 21. They duplicate, right? They do like this. In meiosis 1, they make a tetrad, right? In meiosis 2, they separate like this. I'm sorry, meiosis 1. Meiosis 2, the sister chromatids separate. All right? And one sperm contains this 21. A second sperm contains this 21. A third sperm contains this 21. A fourth sperm contains that 21. Remember that? That's normal meiosis. Okay, I want to abbreviate it. This is how we're going to look at meiosis from here on out. This is the abbreviated version. Here's chromosome pair 21. This is what happens. Check it out. See? Half the sex cells contain a copy of this 21. Half the sex cells contain a copy of this 21. That's normal meiosis. Okay, if this is normal meiosis, watch. What is this? Excellent, non-disjunction. I want you to practice that in the halls. As you're walking through the hallowed halls of Jefferson High School. Practice that. Yeah, right, while you're walking through the halls. It's like this. Normal, normal, normal. Okay? Normal. Non-disjunction. Non-disjunction. Just do that several times and you'll have it down. People will look at you like,
Is that one?
Look at that guy. He's super
it must be one of those genetic. Okay. So watch this. Now watch what happens, because this woman who's a balanced translocation or a translocation carrier, watch what happens when she tries to do meiosis, the abbreviated version. Okay, here we go. Meiosis. She makes two kinds of sex cells here. In this example, did her two 14s separate like they're supposed to?
No.
Yes.
With one 14 in one sex cell and one 14 in the other?
Yes.
Yeah, see? Here's one 14, here's the other one. In this particular example, the normal chromosome 21 ended up in here, but wherever this 14 goes, the attached 21 tags along with it. And together, they behave as one extra long chromosome. Yeah.
What if 21 had gone to the other 14?
Excellent question.
Is it possible?
Don't you feel blessed with a fist bump?
Yes.
It's possible. Okay, now, we'll get to that in a second. But what I want to find out is, all right, is there anything wrong with this possible egg right here?
Yes.
What's wrong with this egg? It's got two 21s in it, see? One there and the other one that's attached to her 14. What's wrong with this possible egg?
There are no 21s.
Missing a 21. So if this one gets fertilized by a normal sperm, you see, monosomy 21. This one's going to miscarry automatically. Okay. This one, if it gets fertilized by a normal sperm, you've got that little girl in the picture, right? 1, 2, 3 21s. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Possibly when this woman here was conceived, when she was a fertilized egg, for some reason, we don't know completely why, when she was a fertilized egg, one of her 21s decided to stick to the end of 14. For some reason, sometimes 14 and 21 get stuck together end to end, and then they remain that way permanently. Called translocation. All right, back to Hayden's question. Hayden. It's possible next time she does meiosis, next time she ovulates, it's possible for this 21 to end up in this cell. That's possible. Half the time, 50-50, this 21 is going to end up in here. If that happened, what would be wrong with this egg? Nothing. And if this 21 ended up in there, let's cover up that 21. Well, okay. Would there be anything wrong with this egg?
No.
Yeah. It would be a balanced translocation, but it would still have 121 and 114 in there like it's supposed to. So she could have normal children, but she has an increased risk above everybody else of what happening?
Having a child with Down syndrome.
Down syndrome or miscarriage. See, if you've got an egg here missing a 21 and it gets fertilized, it's gonna miscarry. It's, well, probably so early that she might not even know she's pregnant when it happens. That makes sense? So that's difficult situation. 1421 translocation. Had you guys heard of this before? About 3% of Down syndrome kids are due to this right here. 95% non-disjunction in either the formation of the sperm or the egg.
It's still possible for her to have normal children, right?
Yeah, she can have a normal child.
But she has a very increased risk of having a Down.
Exactly. She could have a normal child, but a very increased risk of having a baby with Down syndrome. 1421 translocation Down syndrome. Okay. Sort of makes sense?
What about the other 2%?
Ah, we'll get to the other 2% on Friday. A lot more rare. Now, there's something I need to tell you, though. My good buddy Sam Ryan, who used to do quite a bit of genetic counseling, you know Sam Ryan. He spoke here last year. He told me about a case, and this was in Indiana. Now, I don't know how long ago it was, like 25 years ago or something like that. But he told me about a case of a man and a woman. They were young man, young woman, married couple, trying to get pregnant, but she had like 6 miscarriages in a row, unable to get pregnant. So finally they decided to draw some blood and do a karyotype of the husband and the wife. And they found out that the young woman who was trying to get pregnant was a 2121 translocation carrier. You with me? 2121 translocation carrier. So looky here. Here's what your 221s are supposed to do in meiosis, right? Got that? She had 221s, but look, both of them were stuck together like this. Every cell in her body like this. So watch what happens when she does meiosis. Here we go. It's supposed to go like this, but her 221s are stuck together, so they go like this. Okay, so half her eggs contain what?
221.
221 stuck together. Half her eggs contain no 21. That's a bad draw on the cards, right? But what's going to happen to the half of her eggs that have 221s if they get fertilized?
Down syndrome.
A baby with Down syndrome. What's going to happen to the half of the eggs with no 21 that gets fertilized? They'll miscarry. Okay. A significant number of Down syndrome embryos miscarry. More Down syndrome embryos miscarry than normal embryos. Remember, she's had 6 miscarriages in a row. Now they know why. Okay? So they called her into the office then when they found out, and they had to tell her tactfully, gently, all the facts, why she would never be able to have a normal
Staff and
pregnancy.
students, please excuse the interruption for a quick announcement. Tickets for next Friday's game will go on sale for students tomorrow and Friday at half price. Students will be able to buy sectional tickets for the first round home game with Noblesville during all 3 lunches tomorrow and Friday. The Broncos will host Noblesville on next Friday, October 26th at 7 p.m. at Schumann Stadium. Reminder that student all sport passes cannot be used for IHSA events. This offer is only good during lunches on the next 2 days. Tickets will be available at the gate the day of the game for $6. We want the red zone to be packed for the first round of sectional. Again, $3 tickets available for purchase during all 3 lunches for the next 2 days only. Otherwise, tickets are $6 the day of the game. And any JHS All Sports passes cannot be used. That's adult or student. This offer is for JHS students only, and students will only be able to purchase 1 ticket. Thank you.
Okay, you get all that? All right, now, So they had to tell this young woman, your chance of having a normal pregnancy, 0.
Is it actually 0 though? Because if the father coincidentally didn't have a secondary 21 or a 21.
All right, so if dad accidentally makes a sperm that doesn't have a 21 in it,
Yeah.
that's possible. So technically, the probability is not 0, but practically speaking, it's almost possible. Yeah.
Are there any techniques they can use to split those 21s apart?
Not right now. There's no way now in the year 2018.
So, was it in vitro where they took one of her ones with two of the 21s and they took a sperm and they just extracted that 21?
Well, it's real hard to go into a sperm and extract a single chromosome. They're too small, and they're all scrunched up in a quiescent nucleus. All right, there's more to this story. We're almost done. The woman, when she finally gradually moved into the acceptance stage of her sadness. You know, in genetic counseling, I've been told that in genetic counseling, the people who are undergoing genetic counseling, a lot of times they go through all the stages of grief, okay? And, you know, first it was anger, denial, you know, that maybe you've learned about the stages. When she finally reached the acceptance stage, she said, well, that's interesting because, you know, my mom had 7 miscarriages before she had me. And I'm the only child. So they said, your parents still alive? She said, well, dad is deceased, but mom's still alive. Do you think your mom, now this is an older woman now, obviously, do you think your mom would be willing to have her karyotype done? Okay, they karyotyped this first young woman's mother. And guess what? The older woman, the mother of the young mother, was a 21-21 balanced translocation herself.
No way.
Yeah, true story.
So it did happen.
It did happen. So, in other words, this woman who first came into the genetic counseling office should not exist.
What are the trends?
Yeah, they think what happened is her mother made an egg with the 2 21s stuck together, and it just so happened to get fertilized by a sperm that was missing a 21.
That's incredible.
Incredible odds. What are the odds of that? 1 over some really big number.
So could I win the lottery?
Maybe. It's probably easier to win the lottery than to have something like that.
Oh, I would buy the lottery.
It's crazy stuff. You never know.